everybody. So I will get us started.
Okay.
So it's so great. I love seeing all the participants coming in. Hello and welcome today to Soul Food. And we're so excited to have you join us. Today, we are going to explore two methods for students that may seem disengaged, but who simply engage differently. I want you to think about that, engage differently. I'm Ruth, and this is our time. It's about an hour of informal, informative, and positive vibes. Let's begin by getting ourselves comfortable and ready for collaboration. We have with us Ricardo Pobla, amazing pro trainer guest.
Oh man, I love this.
Hi, Ricardo. And he's going to help us get our hearts pumping and our soul shining.
Thank you so much, Ruth. That is an incredible introduction. Humble me right now. Okay, excellent. Actually, I have a special request today. So Michael asked me to do something we can do all seated. So we'll just stay seated for this one today. All right, how about that? All right, good. So what we're going to do are shoulder shrugs just to get us started, just to get the shoulders loose and probably all tired, all like sitting down all day. So let's get a relaxation from the shoulders. What we'll do is this. So you're going to take your shoulders and we're just going to pull your shoulders all the way up like you want to touch the top of your ears. We're going to hold it here and then we're going to pull them back down, all the way down. Try to reach. Like now you're trying to pull everything down and then we're going to pull it back to the top. Reach. Keep pushing here and down. And as you do this, I want you to take a deep inhale when you're going up and a deep exhale as you go down. Just pull them all the way down, stretch that neck. So let's inhale here, exhale down. Good. And from here, we're just going to do some shoulder rolls. We're going to roll the shoulders back, all the way around, all the way, pull it through. Make sure you make big circles, man. Get them shoulders working. You're probably sitting down all day, right? You need just some tension built. Get out of there. All right, let's reverse it. Move it forward. Yeah, you feel funny, you look funny, it's okay. Laugh at yourself. You can always laugh at yourself, it makes you feel good. Very nice. Okay, so now we're going to do the last one here, right? Last one, we're going to do a hug. Okay, so we're going to bring our fists together. But we're going to get a big hug, okay? A huge hug. Oh, Jason, I need a bigger hug than that, man. I need a bigger hug. Reach them arms out. Reach them out. No, your fists out. Yeah, but together like this. Good. Here we go. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is this. We do this in Pilates all the time. Okay. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna pull open here, and we're gonna squeeze the shoulder blades together, and then we're gonna exhale and come back and squeeze the fists together. We're gonna inhale, open, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and right here, squeeze the fists together. Let's do 3 more, and then we're done. That's inhale, big. Then pull it back, exhale, feel good. Inhale, pull it open. Exhale, squeeze it back together. The last one right here, and this is done. Inhale, big one. Exhale, done. Thank you all for this movement, that little 2 minutes. Thank you all for having me. I will see you next week. I will see you all next week. I'll stay on for a little bit. What's that? Who's talking to me?
I was just saying I love it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
I may not be able to walk tonight because I slipped my back, but that's okay.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys later.
If you all want to continue this movement at home and watch this again, we are recording so you can watch it over and over and practice with Ricardo on this. So now I'm really excited. Today we are beginning by talking to Linda Dove, the Chief Academic Officer at the Center for College and Career Readiness. She's going to talk to us about movement and how it helps us to prepare for learning. So Linda, why is that important for students in the classroom? Why would we have started with movement at this given time?
So, well, first off, I know Ricardo might have jumped off, but thank you, Ricardo. I love that. And it's funny because I started a little bit when I was thinking about movement, that even as adults, we know that movement is absolutely critical to human beings and to the human body. And I go to Pure Barre every morning and I exercise, and I have to tell you, it sets my tone. It helps me focus, helps me get set for the day. And I think as adults, we know that. But I think what's intriguing and interesting is now we're beginning to understand that movement plays an essential role in student learning. You know, there's studies out there that show that active students, kids that are moving and it's incorporated throughout their day, actually exhibit better focus, they foster cognitive processing easier, and they have more successful memory retention than students who sit all day long. So think about that in a classroom, because we got a lot of kids that are sitting all day long in a classroom. And, you know, why is that? Well, it's kind of common sense when you think about it. Just like when we exercise, you know, the blood flows to our brain. Same deal with kids during the course of a day. When there's movement, it promotes mental clarity because there's an increase in blood flow to the brain. So it's got huge implications for us as educators as we really begin to think about students and their learning journeys. That's the academic lens, but let me kind of share a little bit with you about the social emotional lens of movement, because we know that movement reduces stress and anxiety. And we know that, you know, even pre-COVID-19, we know COVID-19's taken us over the top, but even pre-COVID-19, we know that anxiety is a huge issue for our youngsters that they're dealing with. And so, you know, you see more and more things like mindfulness activities where students are learning breathing techniques. They're incorporating different exercise and movements throughout the day to reduce anxiety by reducing that cortisol, which is stress, and increasing endorphins in the brain. And I got to tell you, endorphins is an educator's friend, because endorphins actually help kids learn. And what endorphins do is they give a sense of well-being. And so think about it, feeling safe and having a sense of well-being is really the foundation for a student to be that risk taker that we want them to be, to fully engage and own their own learning experience. So movement's not an extra thing. Movement is critical and essential in a student's daily life.
I feel more relaxed already.
I feel more relaxed. I feel very educated at this moment. Thank you, Lyndon. And no, that is really truthful. And you're right. Pre-COVID and even post-COVID, we're sit a lot more, and I've got to do myself a better go out there and walk a little bit more. Well, thank you very much. We're going to come back to Linda at the end, and she's kind of connect the dots for some of our guests and everything. We're real excited about that. But we're now going to get to our main dish. So, T, what do we have on our menu today?
So today, hello all, welcome. Today we're going to focus on the integration of student voice and spoken word as literacy and social engagement. We're going to have former New York City students Maya Imani and Cassette Reagan, who will share their insights, experiences, and real-world stories of how spoken word art engaged and enriched their learning. But first, coming up, we're going to have Jason Kirby, who leads high school eSports leagues. He will begin our discussion on the growth of eSports as a method for engaging students who might otherwise be tuned out of school. Jason?
Hi, Jason. So glad that you're able to join us today. I'm curious, and I'm sure the audience is curious as well. Can you just share with the audience what eSports leagues are and then your role in that?
Yeah, so my name is Jason Kirby, President and COO of HSCL, also known as High School Esports League. And what HSCL is all about is providing a competitive esports environment for scholastic institutions. So high schools, we're launching into middle schools as well as the colleges in fall. So taking the conversation away from playing video games and making it more about a team competitive sport, getting kids out of the basement, out of their rooms, playing on the open toxic internet and into a classroom with their fellow peers that have common interest, and with adult supervision, helping them pursue their common goals and having fun, but on school campus.
Hey, Jason, it's great to see you again. So today we're talking about engaging kids who might seem disengaged or engage in other ways. How are esports helping kids to really find a love and learning in school?
Well, when you look at the statistics, around 75% of high school age students are playing video games. They're typically doing it alone and playing online. And when we kind of set out with HSCL and built it starting back in 2012, the purpose was to bring in those kids that would otherwise not participate in anything at all, but they're playing video games, they're socializing online, they're communicating with random strangers from all over the world. My head of marketing has met his wife playing video games online from the other side of the world. And what we're doing is basically enabling this passion to bring it and funneling it into the classroom. So kids are associating positive engagement, positive experiences with something that they love, but having that adult supervision from a teacher that cares about their best interests and wants them to succeed in school, and kind of aligning those efforts just as we do with football, baseball, and holding student athletes to certain standards and certain grades so that they can pursue what they love doing.
That's neat. I'm curious, how many students do you have participating around the country or the world? And do you get feedback from the students? I'm curious what they're saying to you about esports.
Yeah, no, we have a very vibrant community. Since founding the HSCL, we've had about 80,000 students go through our program in North America. And growing rapidly. When I joined back in August, we only had about 50,000, so over 30,000 new students have joined our platform in the last year. And they come and participate for the purpose of competing and representing their school, which is really exciting to kind of see that involvement. And what's been amazing over the last several years is it's difficult for schools to wrap their head around esports as a sport in their school or as a club. It's so new, and people still have negative historical stigmas around video games. And what we realized is that most of our success has been grassroots. Kids or teachers, realizing that this exists and that there's so much positive data around it, and kind of grinding their way to make this a reality at their school. And you're seeing these students step up as leaders and bringing forth their passion and their ideas and presenting to school boards, presenting to principals, showing the data. And what we usually see is students finding a teacher, teacher falling in love, saying, "Oh my God, you care about something? You want to do something?" Like, "Yes, I just want to enable you. I just want you to follow your passion." And you get these teachers that have no idea what esports are, but they know that these kids are engaged because of it. And so we do a lot of hand-holding with those school officials and principals, teachers, to kind of help get them over the hurdles of, what is esports? How does it work? How are they communicating? And the fact that we have a closed system that's only for high school students and high school officials makes people feel a lot more comfortable, which is nice. But the feedback is amazing when we start to see these students that, I didn't play sports, I'm not capable of playing sports, or I don't want to play sports, but I love video games. That were, the stories of some of the students I've met and teachers that I've talked to, where the kids just didn't care. They just had that don't care attitude about life and about everything, but they love playing video games at home. And, now we have my favorite story is this kid. He was a freshman when he started at a school in Long Island, New York, and didn't participate in anything. And, the esports club just started, and he kind of heard about it, and a friend really insisted he join. And he fell in love with it. Although he wasn't very good at playing Overwatch, which is a really popular, esport game. He learned that he doesn't have to be the best player to be on the team and have fun. He actually learned that he's really good at social media marketing. And he built their Twitch streaming page, he built their Instagram, he built their Facebook page, and now he's got over 1,000 followers. They're streaming all their matches. And he's now built a career, readiness skill that pays very well in today's market to be a social media marketer and a marketing background. And he's now a junior in high school, and he's better than some of the marketers I've interviewed in the past. So it's just really awesome to see those types of stories.
Jason, you're really lighting up the chat with our audience members. So a couple of questions have come in. One, is this appropriate for elementary students? And two, and I think I asked you this as well when we first met, give us a sense of some of the games that the kids are actually playing.
Yeah, so addressing middle school and elementary school, at that age, and we're launching middle school esports in the fall. It'll be a small rollout, but you can sign up at middleschoolsports.com. But what we're doing there is, one, we're making it even more closed environment to where teachers control kind of the who has accounts and whatnot. And we're really limiting the games to every, rated E for everyone type games. And we're also trying to really be inclusive, specifically trying to target more girls to get involved at a younger age. So we're doing games like Just Dance, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. So it's more about movement and like a 1v1, kind of more of a fun environment. We're going to be doing Mario Kart, which is kind of like anyone and everyone can play that game. Super Smash Bros, which is really simple, fighter cartoon game. And we're trying to really make it about fun and engagement. There is a competitive element, and there's always going to be kids that are more competitive than others, but it's more about giving the teachers and the schools the structure and the means to kind of lure these kids in to have fun and be like Just Dance or moving around, fun competitive games. And whether they choose to really like go after the competition level and compete with these schools all across the country and other middle schools and build those relationships, they're at least getting into the classroom, with that adult supervision after school and kind of learning about social emotional learning skills, learning to work as a team, and building relationships with their peers. And that's really what it's all about. And we have I forgot the total list of games. I probably should pull those up just so I don't flake on that. But so the middle school is a lot more entry level games like Rocket League, things that are very age appropriate for the younger audience. And we're thinking about going as low as 5th grade for the competitive piece, but that might be further down the road. But trying to work with our teachers and our partners to create more of like a training and curriculum experience that any school can pick up with as long as they have a dedicated teacher for it. When it comes to HSEL, of course, I pulled up the slide that doesn't have the games. Here it is. So this fall, we're going to be rolling out, Super Smash Brothers, which is like the fighter game, cartoons like Nintendo characters, Rocket League, soccer with cars, FIFA, soccer, NBA 2K, Madden. There's a new Minecraft game that we're going to be partnering with Microsoft on, specific for esports. So obviously very age appropriate for Minecraft. Overwatch, it's like a MOBA fighter, game. Hearthstone, it's a card game, which is really popular. Valorant, which is brand new from Riot, the creators of League of Legends. We're very excited about this game. It has tons of popularity. A lot of people are talking about it. It's very hyped up. It's a rated teen game. We're looking at offering Street Fighter, more of a historically classic, but still relevant in today's age when it comes to fast-paced, 1v1 fighter games. Fortnite, of course, everyone knows Fortnite. CS:GO is a classic, popular team-based tactics shooter game. Same with Rainbow Six, and then Call of Duty: Modern Warfare.
Very cool. Good, Ruth.
Way cool. Jason, I actually needed you when I was in school because I have not been able to participate in any type of those games with my own children, and they're 25 and 26 now. So hearing that, I'm like, lucky kids. We have a really great question in the box I wanted to share with you or ask you. Do the schools have a dedicated teacher that is actually assisting the students with this in the classroom? And what is the typical time frame for a student to participate?
So in order to be in our league, we usually require a teacher. We do require a school official to be representing the school and to be managing the overall account.
Gotcha.
We have a wide ranging of commitment from those teachers. Some allow and enable students to step up as leaders and take on a lot of the day-to-day responsibility because they have no idea what Overwatch is and how to coach it. So they try to let the kids do it, and they're just more there facilitating. And then we have some teachers that act as coaches, really step up, hold practices, pull up the whiteboards, start drawing up strategies of how to attack the map and how to do this and reviewing game film. That's what we see the future as, where these teachers are getting coaching stipends just like football and baseball coaches because there's no different in terms of the commitment and responsibilities. But that's what we really care about, and why we realize that schools adopt at different paces. We have some schools throwing down $50,000, $100,000 budgets into their esports programs, and then we have some struggling to raise $500. And so we try to accommodate all those schools, because what our data shows is after they participated at any level for a year or two, then the case studies are there, the justification is there, they see grades go up, they see attendance go up, two obviously big KPIs for schools and teachers. And so, with that, the funding usually comes to have a proper investment into, hardware, the space, the environment, jerseys. We really want people to invest in jerseys. We just signed a deal with the apparel company to make jerseys as cheap as possible and really high quality, so that schools are trying to get those, because when a kid puts on a jersey, they feel the pride, they get excited when they go to school, walking around chest up and chin up. And so that's something that we really want schools to realize and invest into, and we're trying to lower that cost and lower that barrier to entry for that.
That's really interesting. Quickly, just a last question. If someone wants to become involved in esports, how can they get involved?
It depends. From a teacher or a school administrator perspective, reach out to us. You can book a meeting with any one of our team members or customer success people, have 15 minutes with them, pick their brain, ask them what you need. You can go to our website, download any of our resources. We have a full elective course that's a 180-page textbook for download for free on our website that teaches you so much about social emotional learning skills, gaming, and how to be a good digital citizen online. So there's a lot of really good free resources on our website, hscl.org. Feel free to reach out and ask questions, because this is a learning process. You're not expected to know how to do this. It's not often that a new sport comes to a school. So there's a lot of learning curve. There's a lot of new information out there. There's a lot of options. So we're all about kind of helping facilitate that learning experience and lowering that barrier to entry. So first step is, reach out, ask questions, show interest, look at the data. It's a very compelling story, and it's hard to ignore that with 75% of students play video games. There's definitely kids on your campus that would appreciate it. And another fun stat from us is, when we first launched this and we started surveying our students, 80% of them never participated in any other extracurricular activity. And so you're really tapping into an audience of students that often goes neglected or, kind of disconnected from traditional school.
Outstanding. Jason, thank you for being with us as we think about how we differently engage students. And I think it's over to our producer, MJ and T.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, Jason, thank you so much for sharing that with us. I have two boys that are very much involved with video games, so I'm going to have to try to get them plugged in their school as well. But at this time, we're getting ready to feed our soul. And in a minute, you will be introduced to two outstanding spoken word artists. As they share with us, you will notice I'm going to bring in some extra guests into our chat room here so that our artist has someone to perform to.
So, welcome all again. So I'm Taliba, and I'm going to share with you a little bit about myself so you would understand as we move forward why this particular segment and these spoken word artists are so very important to me. So in my over 20 years serving as a school district administrator in the New York City Department of Education, I was tasked with conducting school reviews on the quality of the teaching and learning practices. So I observed over 200 schools in New York City, or high schools, and I've written about well over 1,000 observation reports to give feedback to principals. So several years ago, we conducted a data item skills analysis review of students' performance on the New York State history and global exams. What we uncovered trends that the students were answering all the multiple choice questions consistently. However, What we also saw was a significant number of students who left off the essay questions and they left them blank. So as administrators, we concluded that, hey, we had a reluctant writer's problem. So after reviewing, visited several schools, over 30 high schools in New York, in Brooklyn, and I began to collect samples of students writing for review. I found notebooks with lyrics, poems, stories, graffiti. So I decided to organize an exhibition of students writing with a focus on poetry in order to get more samples of the student work. It was from that call for student work in schools that I met the two young people who will be coming up next as spoken word artists. My committee of school administrators and I decided that reluctant writers may not be the area that would give us the highest instructional returns on why students weren't writing. Instead, what we did, we shifted our focus on how much of the classroom teaching practices allowed for writing tasks that honored student voice and excite students as writers. So that's a little backstory on where I met and how I met the next two youngsters that will be coming up. The first, I'd like to present Ms. Maya Imani. Maya is a writer, one of those writers that I found in one of our high schools in New York City, an actress and an insightful and quite the profound writer as a spoken word artist. So I'm going to let Maya present and let her work speak for itself.
Hello, everyone. I pray for your covering in your darkest times. And I pray for your covering even when the sun shines. For tomorrow is just a hope away. But if you don't raise to face what you think may be your next day, I pray for your covering. Yes, I pray for your covering. Lord, watch over, please. You have decided to enter the field of education. I hope that you have decided with the intention to educate, because education goes outside of the classroom. You have a lasting impact on the generation you are presenting. As a former student, I understand that you have exams that you have to meet, protocols that your students are expected to meet. I wonder if you are taking the time to get to know them before the grades that are placed in front of you before you meet them. Before you say hello, when you graduated and passed all your exams and knew that you were becoming a teacher and were appointed to your school, were you actually ready for what laid in front of you? Did you take a personal oath to never let them down, to never give up on them, to encourage them outside of the classroom? Did you promise yourself that you would see them beyond their expectations and guide them? Did you promise yourself that you would keep their promises, perhaps hold their secrets? Since COVID has taken us all down, have you thought about them? Have you thought about your broken students? Have you thought about the ones who are not top of their class and those who will not be okay? Because those who are at the top of the class, you know, online and entering the subjects online, they will do just fine. But what about the kids that you know come from broken homes? What about the kids that sit in back of the classroom and don't say anything at all? What about the kids you question? What about the ones you gossip about with your fellow coworkers, hoping that you could do something for them? Have you checked in on them? Are you teaching them besides your subject matter? Are you really there for them? Are you only a teacher because that was your backup plan? That somehow you fell off your rails and had to settle for something that you didn't quite know was your purpose? Do you really care? What has COVID done to you? Has it personally affected your family members and their friends? Has it affected your students' families? Do you really miss them? Do you think about what their life will be like once they leave their classroom? Are you leaving them with, I had this teacher one time, or this administrator one time came into my class. When they fall on bended and broken knees, when they get stuck in life, will they be able to remember you? Tell me, what have you really been thinking about since COVID took us all out? We understand that you are settling in and got all these meetings and everything to do, but are you really listening to your students? Are you asking them, how are you? What do you want? Outside of what has to be graded, you see, you spend more time with us than they do their families. You know more about us than our families. You are our teachers. Outside of things that our families do not teach us, what about the students that are broken? Are you there for them? Are you providing for them? Are you making promises ensuring that you will always be there for them? Since you've been an educator, are you really educating or just getting your check and moving on? You are an impactor. You have the difference to ensure that your children will become more than what you think of them, more than what society says they are, more than a statistic. You see, they are more than red carpets and sports and basketballs. They have opportunities to become lawyers and doctors and perhaps even follow in your education footsteps. Are you inspiring? What are you teaching? During COVID, and since we've had time to evaluate ourselves, are you really evaluating the way you teach? Do you feel at the end of the day, whether school or at the end of your Zoom sessions, you have impacted? Have you exchanged a hug? Have you exchanged a smile? Have you exchanged a, I'm proud of you? You may not get this today, but I am pushing you as an educator. Are you educating? I pray for your covering in your darkest time. And I pray for your covering even when the sun shines. For tomorrow is just a hope away. But if you don't raise the face what you think may be your next day, I pray for your covering. Yes, I pray for your covering. Lord, watch over, please. I pray for your covering. I know what I want. Yes. I know what I'm doing. Yeah. I know who I am. I am so focused. So I'm going to sit back and relax. Your lessons plans, you can keep that. Subject matters ain't my focus. I'm going to be real rich. Hustle life. Generation to generations, these books, my life won't be no different. You don't think I can achieve past what statistics make me? And I'm cool with that. Entrepreneurship is my forte. Student debt, I'll pass. Up late night studying? Nah. Over in the club partying? Yeah. No thanks. I'm good. Voted Miss Popular. You don't even want to be here. Mama said for every light on Broadway, there's a broken heart, and mine ain't up there. Mark my words. You'll see 10 years from now, my life will still be popping. Rocking all the latest brands, and I promise I won't get there from state exams. Not voting on my government. They don't care about who or where, what or what I'm doing. unless I'm adding to their jail system or not paying my taxes. Educators, I hope you stop that. I hope you stop that mindset. I hope you get in front of them and revisit their visions. I hope every time before they leave your classroom, leave a Zoom session, before you say your goodbyes and see you tomorrows and find yourself crying because they've been gunned down, or standing before them saying, that was my student, I made them proud, top of the class always. I hope you select and keep every single one of them there to you because they need you. You are more than just a teacher. You're a mentor. You're inspiration. They will be with you every single day of their lives. The worst teachers, the best teachers, I don't really care what you do. I'm just here for my check teachers. You got to get to them before they get to college, because I'm telling you right now, it's a whole different ballgame. In college, yeah, the mindset is, get your exams in, make your finals, pass it. But while they are young, prepare them, because they have no idea of the lessons that life are getting ready to hand them, getting ready to teach them, the shoes that they will find themselves walking and telling themselves, never thought I would be here. You can warn them, and they may not listen, but make sure you know that you told them, so that when they do fall or they do aim high, your words will always be on standby. My educators, yes, my public school students, college educated, focused because of educators and my mama, I hope that you hear us today. I hope that it hits you to stay with your students. The great, the bad, the attitude sassy, the all that. Treat them all the same. Love them all. Encourage them all. Everyone won't win, some will fall. But on the wayside, they will be able to say, that educator, that administrator, that director, they stood by my side.
I've got a couple of questions for Maya. Maya, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So if you could share with us, what experiences informed your themes when you were writing in high school?
So I went to a performing arts school and I absolutely loved it. And then I transferred to my zone school. And in that zone school, it was a school where either you make it or you don't. You had educators that cared, and you had educators that didn't care because the students showed that they didn't care, and we were basically what the statistics said we were for that zone area and where we came from. I, however, did not originally start in that school or went to previous schools with the students that went to that school. And I knew it wasn't true. So their stories, their mindsets definitely inspired me to write for them and to encourage them and to let them know that they were more than their zone and more than what the school resources had, because there were a lot of teachers that wanted more resources in the school, but the fight wasn't hard enough because of the reputation that the school had.
Okay. What would you say to teachers and administrators who believe that most students, in particular in underserved areas, are reluctant readers or reluctant writers in this case? What would you say?
That you cannot make that judgment based on strictly your exams, their grades. You have to speak to these students. You have to get to know them. Every one of your students have a talent. You have to find that talent and encourage them through that talent to ace your subject matter. Everybody has a story and everybody has a purpose, and you play a major role in inspiring them to be their best. And no, you will not be able to hit every mark and hit every student, because at the end of the day, we also have things that go on in our personal lives. But while we may be going through something in our personal lives, you can always be with us. Get to know your students and think about where you want to see them 10 years from now. And maybe every educator didn't say, oh, I'm going to be a teacher. Maybe you had other plans to do other things and it didn't quite work out that way. So I inspire you, and I hope that if you aren't already doing that, that you are motivated to get to know these students, because they're your students now, but you can inspire them to inspire themselves and inspire others along their life journey. Outside of books, books are important, of course, but it goes beyond that as educators.
Thank you so much. We're going to spin up Victor Valdez from Miami here in a second, but before we do that, Linda Dove, we have educators here in the audience and on YouTube and on Facebook. What a powerful experience. Any words of wisdom for us as we think about our kids? Our kids who are going to be coming back to school in the fall, kids are at home right now.
I think we just heard those words of wisdom. I think the power of what has just been said is incredible. And to me, what I'm walking away with, and what I think every educator needs to walk away with, is how critical it is to help your students find through choice and voice, their passion. And if you can help them find their passion, whether that passion is through the physical or the word or whatever it is, that they will be engaged. I think we were just given a step-by-step recipe from some really incredible young people. And their words have been powerful. And I think every teacher should hear basically what both of you guys, all three of you have said, because I think it is actually our playbook for how we get kids engaged.
May I just add, Kevin? I think every teacher, in addition to what Linda just mentioned, I think every teacher should check their classrooms. Those kids are there. I found them. I found hundreds of them. They are there.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you very much. And as always here on Soul Food, we're going to have a sweet ending. And Miami's own Victor Valdez is here with us. Hello. And he's going to give us another song from the new Mad Hatter the Musical. And we are great. We're going to be even better. Wrap us up for a long weekend, buddy.
Let's do it. So this next song that I decided to do today, I actually got to hear a little bit of what happened today, and it was really, really wonderful. And I actually have to agree, you know, coming from a Latin American country, it's very seen that the thing is, you know, science and math and architecture and engineering are the things that people should try to go for because they're the real careers. And as someone who always wanted to be a musician, it was kind of a struggle for me to find that support from older people, from those that I looked up to be like, yeah, you can do that, and you can make a living with that. So it was really wonderful to listen to the spoken word participants. And this next song actually is one of the songs from Mad Hatter that I have the most in. I really poured myself into this one. So in our story, the Mad Hatter gets to Wonderland and he falls in love, as we found out last week, with one of the Cheshire Cats. What we don't know yet, and what I haven't told you yet, is that the Mad Hatter in London has a wife. So in this song, they're actually both in the wrong end of the situation, and they both realize how they've just been wronged by this man. In two different worlds, they just sing this song together. I heard the stories of men and the glory they hold to find all their lives. I heard of princes and their shining armor, always looking for dragons to fight. But what if they had a girl? What happens to her when he's causing strife? What sadness when she's broken he left her behind. All of my life I believed all those fairy tales were just too good to be true. Then you came dancing around, and my soul was unbound from the darkness I knew. I tore the walls round my heart, I let myself fly to the skies up above. Now here I am shattered, my pride is all scattered, and all for a taste of your love. I never thought you would hurt me like this. When secrets unfurled, you chose your new world and left me in misery. Forever, you promised forever, and still you took the life out of me. Our love is just a memory. But I know I'll carry on. I've got to be strong. How did your love feel so right? I was so wrong. You just love yourself. I gave you everything. I was your wife. I gave you children. I gave you life. Now I don't know who you are. There is madness in your eyes. And I heard the stories of men and the glory they long for, much more than a kiss. When secrets unfurled, you chose your new world. How could you leave me forever? You promised forever, and still you took the life out of me. Our love is just a
We want to thank you all for coming. We hope to see you all same place, same time next week.
Next week.
And enjoy your weekend all.